If you've been to DevFest Wisconsin before, our final speaker of the day likely needs no introduction. We're going to do one anyway. Ross Larson became a software developer through the non-traditional path of obtaining a double major in psychology and French from Luther College. He later obtained a software development degree from Fox Valley Technical College and works as a software developer for Paradigm in Middleton, Wisconsin. He currently serves on the board of the Ford Festival. Ooh. He has volunteered teaching computer science at a local high school through the TEALS program. He enjoys indie and retro video games, board games, the NFL draft, creating obscure fantasy leagues. I want to hear more about that. And making charts. Take it away, Ross.
Going first? All right, let's do this. Hi, everybody. Close. The theoretical connection path doesn't work. Okay. So this is what I start with making a web browser full screen. I was told connection path doesn't. It's not that. Come on, use that class. There we go. All right. No, yeah. It's a tech conference. We're doing great. Well, first of all, I wanted to share this picture with you because I think it's the most ridiculous picture I've ever seen. I googled mindfulness and work, and I saw people on top of tables with laptops next to each other, and like a briefcase for some reason, and they're just all meditating. And I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I ever saw, and I just wanted to share it because apparently this is what people think about when they think about mindfulness at work. So anyway, hi, I'm Ross. I've done a bunch of things, I've done a bunch of stuff. I have a psychology degree, that's probably the thing that's reasonably relevant to this. I also work as a software developer at Paradigm in Middleton. If you want to play along at home, here's a QR code, rosslarson.com/slides will get you to all of my slides, but if you want to get these specific slides, go nuts. If you are on a desktop web browser and you press P, you will see my presentation notes. I don't mind, go ahead. So, okay, everybody, we're good? Okay. The agenda today, we will get an introduction to mindfulness and the RAIN method specifically. I'm going to provide you a description of the wellness wheel and an overview of the dimensions of wellness. We're going to do a self-assessment to help give you a snapshot of your current wellness status. I'm going to provide you a roadmap to an experimental mindset. And then we're going to leave with no problems because we're all going to be completely fixed and well. So that's going to be pretty sweet. But before I get too far in, I would like to do some fist of 5 voting. I don't know if people are familiar with fist of 5 voting. It goes from no experience / hate it to all of the experience. I don't know why you're up here. I know more than you about this topic as a 5. But from fist to 5, how familiar are you with mindfulness? So we got some 2s to 4s, mostly some 5s. There we go, Sean. Love it. Okay, the wellness wheel. How many people? A lot of fists. Okay, SMART goals. Okay, yeah, we're familiar with those. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get that context to make sure I wasn't belaboring certain points and or just going or breezing by subjects to which most people don't have a lot of experience in. So, what is mindfulness? This is the first part of the talk. So mindfulness is present moment awareness, which is being fully engaged in what you're doing, sensing and feeling, being here and now and not letting your mind wander. It is a non-judgmental acceptance of the moment. You observe your experiences without labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong. This helps to allow for a sense of calm and helps you avoid getting swept away by negative emotions. Part of it is focus, to bring attention to a particular object, such as your breath, your bodily sensations, or the sounds around you. It also involves observing thoughts and emotions, to acknowledge the presence of thoughts and emotions and to observe them as they arise and pass. like clouds drifting in the sky. So what is mindfulness not? It isn't one specific method. It's not just, saying over and over again. That's not how it works. It's a wide array of activities. And so if one doesn't work for you, that's great. Like there's a lot of them. So pick one that works for you. It isn't a quick fix. You don't sit down and go like this and then your life is all better all of a sudden. It isn't Buddhism. While the origins of some mindfulness practices are rooted in Buddhist practices, it is not specifically or only Buddhist. So like if you go like this, you don't suddenly become or get converted to Buddhism, if that is a thing that you are worried about. Speaking of religions in general, mindfulness is not pro or anti-religion. It is, you can be religious or non-religious and practice mindfulness. It can coexist with whatever practices you have. You are not. You're not like from the planet Vulcan. You are not suppressing and escaping your thoughts and emotions. You are still allowed to have feelings. And once you do it right, you don't suddenly start floating or have some sort of glow or angelic choir behind you. For some people, they might notice a difference. For other people, they won't notice anything at all. So it may feel awkward during the first few times that you try to do it, but it is still worth it to keep going. And you might already be doing some of these practices and not know it, and that's all right. So mindfulness, the best way I have found to understand mindfulness is about thinking about it this way. So think of your mind like a river or a waterfall, flowing constantly with thoughts, sensations, and emotions. Just as the water in that river is always changing, our thoughts and feelings are not permanent and constantly shifting. Instead of being in the middle of the river and being worried that the current will take us away, we can step back and observe the river of our mind from a place of detachment, like standing on that riverbank. By observing those thoughts as they pass like water, you can cultivate a sense of inner peace and reduce identification with negative or overwhelming thoughts. Well, there are a variety of ways to be mindful, as I mentioned. Generally, there's two big categories: formal practices and informal practices. That basically describes how much structure there is to the activity. One of them isn't right, and the other is not wrong. It just helps you to find maybe structured things help you better. Maybe unstructured things are the way that brings you, to where you need to be. Some of them are listed here: meditation, practice called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just informal, like just paying a little bit more attention when you brush your teeth. Sitting up, on the Union and just, hearing the sound of the water. It's pretty cool too. Now, as previously mentioned, I like making charts. So I decided to make one because there wasn't a whole lot of information about how much tech gets involved in mindfulness practices and where it fits in. And I thought, maybe we should have a chart about that. So now I made a 4-quadrant chart based on how formal or informal the mindfulness activity is and how much technology can be involved in the process. This is a busy slide, so I'm going to explain each quadrant individually. So let's start with informal, low-tech mindfulness practices. You could do this stuff in like the 1800s, like walking around with Robert Frost if you really wanted to. These are, just spending some time outside, taking some walks, unstructured journaling, talking about your feelings, being aware of the world around you, just taking some time and breathing. These are not things that require a lot of technology. It doesn't make them bad or good. It's just a category of ways that you can do these activities. Similarly, you can do some of these informal activities but have a tech, an informal high-tech quadrant, I would say, is where technology is involved with the process but not specifically providing the mindfulness structure. So if one way that you relax is by finding a lady called Rail Cowgirl who has 4-hour-long videos of snow-covered trains that go from like Bergen to Oslo, and and you feel very comfortable just by hearing the sounds of a train going back and forth and in and out of tunnels. I will say that is me. I have done that. But you do you, right? If that's not your thing, that's fine too. But that is a method. You can just listen to music that you enjoy if it helps get you in a contemplative mood and you can think about your thoughts and feelings. There's also video games that let you do it. So In the upper left-hand corner, actually the upper right-hand corner is me playing Spirit City lo-fi sessions. That's my Spirit City dude. And he's knitting because you can just listen to lo-fi and like think about thoughts if you want. It's also technically a productivity tool, but that's beside the point. Now getting into formal low-tech activities. These are structured activities, but they are not linked to tech in any specific way. Some of these activities are formal meditation, yoga, guided exercises like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is an exercise where you find 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, and just thinking about those feelings and allowing those to ground you where you are. Another one is the RAIN method. We'll be talking about that shortly. But yeah, it's a way of just, it doesn't require a lot of things, but it still has some structure that's being provided. Either you yourself are providing the structure, or there is some small outside structure that is helping you with that practice. Let's go to the formal high-tech quadrant. This is a structured mindfulness technique, but it is facilitated by technology, either via a subscription service or a one-time purchase. So one would be using either the Calm or Headspace apps. These are things that you can use on your phone. You hit it, they either guide you through or give you an unstructured thing. You just listen to waves for a while, and then they charge you a monthly fee forever. There are also games on Steam. The one on the right is Inward. It's free. It's a meditation program. The one on the left is Plain. It costs like $10, but then it's yours forever. You can meditate for as long as you want. There's a bunch of different prompts. It's kind of cool. There are also VR apps, so if this is not tech enough and you still want structure, you can put like an Oculus Quest on you and figure out some sort of thing, just go into like a sensory deprivation chamber or something. Like, I'm not gonna do it, you do you. So let's talk about the RAIN method. The RAIN method was created by Dr. Tara Brach. It is a relatively simple, easy to remember tool for practicing mindfulness and compassion using the following 4 steps. You recognize what is happening. You allow the experience to sit there, just as it is. You then investigate those feelings with interest and care, and you nurture those feelings with compassion. It's a way of, it is a possible way to take a frustrating work scenario, allow yourself to process the feelings and situations, think about the feelings and motivations, and then just, nurture them for what they are and not beat yourself up about it. You can do this on your own or find a guided mindfulness video about it on YouTube. Dr. Turbock has mindfulness prompts that you can just go to YouTube and do. Either way is fine. Now, wellness. Let's discuss wellness and wheels. The roots come from religious and cultural practice, but we've come a long way from there. Where did we start from? Well, Buddhism doesn't regard the body and the mind or spirit as being 2 completely separate entities. The body and the mind or spirit combine and interact in a complex way to constitute an individual. I am not a Buddhist scholar. I will allow you to do your own research from there. Another cultural practice or tradition that has the concept of the wheel. Some Native American cultures have a holistic model that is guided by the medicine wheel, with components of you being the mind, the emotions, the physical, and the spiritual well-being. We're gonna go ahead in time a little bit, all the way to the 1970s. Dr. Bill Hetler is often credited with creating the first widely adopted version of the wellness wheel in the late 1970s. Other wellness experts have expanded upon Dr. Hetler's original model of 6 aspects. And if you feel like you've seen a lot of different wellness wheels, it's probably because you have. A lot of colleges have them, insurance companies, some companies have them. If there's a wellness program, there's probably a wheel someplace. So sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 7. Whoa, that's 8. What about 9? Wait, 10? By the way, sexual wellness is on here, and I think that's pretty cool. A lot of them don't include that. But all the way up to 12! Now, looking at this 12 aspects, I am not 100% convinced that home cooking is an absolutely, core part of my being that needs to be, mindfully guided in the same way as, my career and my emotional wellness. So I think we can all agree that some of these aspects are a little bit arbitrary, and our view of wellness may evolve over time. And as long as we agree with that, I would like to go slightly back to use the wellness wheel from the University of New Hampshire and explain some of those aspects. I will explain my reasoning for choosing this wheel shortly. So the 8 aspects of wellness listed in the University of New Hampshire wheel are social, which is feeling supported in healthy, close relationships with family and friends. Financial, living within your means and balancing spending in the present and the future. Physical, which is physical activity, healthy diet, good sleep, etc. Emotional is not just feeling good about yourself, but also recognizing your own stress and anxiety, asking for help and feeling comfortable with saying no. Spiritual is a sense of meaning and purpose, a clear sense of right and wrong, and compassion and goodwill. Intellectual is curiosity, openness to new ideas, critical thinking, and an openness to learning new things. Environmental is obviously spending time in nature, but also includes aspects of your own home and work environment, the places where you live and the time where you spend them. It is also, there's an aspect potentially of green living in there and understanding that this world is not just yours, and maybe you should think about that. Now, after all the first 7, we get to occupational and making sure we're good at work. But work is, at least in this occupational aspect of wellness, is having goals and finding purpose in work, using your skills effectively, and finding a healthy work-life balance. Now, if during this conference you have been just rocking that occupational aspect today, awesome. I'm just trying to allow you to consider, maybe think of the other ones too, because if you're nailing one but you're sacrificing all of the others, maybe that's not helping you at work. Now, speaking of the New Hampshire Wellness Guide, the reason I'm using it is because they have an online test that you can take to go over your wellness. So I would like you to either scan that QR code or go to that URL to take the quiz. There are 5 answers from 1 to 5, 5 being I am extremely satisfied with this, or 1, I am extremely unsatisfied and need to take actionable steps to improve. At the end of this quiz, it does ask for demographic information. If you want to provide that, you can. If you don't, you can opt out on every single one of those questions, and it'll generate a PDF of the answers you just gave. So let me know if you have any issues accessing that quiz. Now I'm going to bring that wheel back up, because now that we have all taken the quiz, let's take another look at the wellness wheel. First of all, I want to communicate that perfection on this wheel is impossible unless you just answer all 5s, which is probably just close to not helping anything. Perfection is impossible, and that is okay. That is the point of being honest about your wellness. That being said, were there any surprises? Or did this bring up any questions that were uncomfortable to either consider or answer? Yes. Would anyone like to share, or will we keep it to ourselves and bottle it up?
So mine was, I can say no when needed and not feel guilty. That was 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I have struggled with this as well. Being a person that likes to help other people, saying no can feel both bad for you and bad to them. If it's the right answer for where your life is right now, no is the right answer for both. Being able to indicate your boundaries is very difficult, and it is a thing that is very difficult to say, 5, I got no problems in that area, for sure. Anybody else?
I'll go here and
Yeah.
The areas that I am most neglectful of are the ones in which I show love to myself. I don't love myself enough.
That's fair. And you know what? You are perfectly lovable. I think you should do that for yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, what I like to think about myself is in my self voice. Sometimes I like to think of as a friend.
Yeah.
And if I would not allow that friend in my life, maybe I should give that me a talking to.
Yeah.
And just have a frank conversation about, hey, me, like, I respect myself more than that.
Yeah.
And then try to, like, because it is very difficult to be very negative with their own self-talk.
Oh, yeah.
And the words that we use with ourselves will become who we are eventually.
Yeah.
And so sometimes trying to use different words will help us get where we're trying to be.
Okay, so one of the things is I don't have a healthy work-life balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do object to the one question about mentally stimulating activities, being mildly on the ADHD spectrum, I'd rather do stuff that's a little more mindless. So I often favor music that drones more than anything that's complicated. So
Yeah, I mean, finding the beats to study relax to wasn't difficult for me to find. It was on the saved searches list already. As a fellow ADHDer, I find value in both the intellectually stimulating and the, you know what, now it's time to chill and find a flow state and just be for a little while. And then finding the right mix of one for the other. You don't want to just, be all, drone. Obviously, this is a work-life balance thing, because if your work is already taking so much of you, there's only going to be a little bit left, and maybe the only thing you need with the part you have left is just a little bit of peace and silence. And that's fine. Like, you make that call for you. But again, in working towards getting to where we want to be, finding the desire to keep learning and fitting that in the spot that we have is important. But also, if work is taking too much of us and we can't, we have to be able to push back on work and say, look, I don't have enough time for me to continue being healthy. And so I need this time for me to do these things. So yeah, it's a thing. And just coming up with more time at work is not necessarily the easiest thing, but it can be a thing you can be aware of kind of as a long-term goal. Any other surprises?
I had an insight from taking the test where I feel like I've done a good job over the years learning how to prioritize wellness, but have maybe always dipped a little on the diet and exercise thing. And I blame work-life balance. But when it comes to everything else, which it occurred to me, well, I find the work-life balance to do all the things I want to. And so as I filled that out, I had to acknowledge maybe I'm actually just really not prioritizing that piece of it for myself.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, I will say, with my insurance program, I recently took a class in having a problematic relationship with food and trying to learn better lessons. So maybe part of your life purpose is cheese curds. Not all the time, obviously, but finding the special moments to be like, oh, this is cheese curds time. And then and again, maybe it's pizza, maybe it's something else. To find that special food that gives you joy shouldn't be something that makes you upset. It's to find all of the rest of your life decisions and make sure that fits in. And so one curds celebration doesn't turn into 3 curds on the same day or whatever, and then a week of curds, and all of a sudden you're like, oh right, the curds, right? Finding ways to give ourselves joy is completely acceptable, but also figuring out ways to get to our goals while still enjoying life is 100% part of this exercise.
Yeah, for me it's, I didn't find time to meal plan, or
Yeah.
I didn't find time to exercise. Well, wow, did I find time to do everything else on that chart? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just excuses.
Yeah, I can relate to the work-life balance thing and the ADHD thing. I found it interesting that the two that were low for me were emotional and financial, and I've realized that the work-life balance and those two things kind of feed into each other a lot. There's a lot of intersections I think we've all probably noticed from these.
Yeah.
But I think for me is I'm an emotional eater, and so I'll spend a lot of money on food, like comfort foods, to cope with work stress. And so it like feeds, like everything kind of like feeds in, like keeps those scores low. So I think, yeah, keeping that, and like that ability to say no kind of forefront, at the forefront can help with like creating distance from work a little bit and maybe making room for those scores to go up in other areas.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things about this is sometimes the decisions, if they are short-term related, they can be perfectly justified. And the thing sometimes that we have to work on is not something that we don't want to do, it's working towards the person we want to be. And then understanding, oh, like, yeah, it was a stressful day and today sucked and I would love a burger right now. And maybe if it's a very once in a while, then like, get yourself that burger. But like, if you're noticing, oh, this has happened several times this week, I'm finding myself constantly in an overstimulated or overstressed place, maybe this isn't a place that I want to be and I have to figure out how to not be in that anymore. And that's obviously a bigger question. So speaking of which, here's a quote by Oprah. Cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. The one time it seems socially acceptable for us to have any changes in our life or any sort of self-examination seems to be New Year's. It is one time a year. You're probably on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day thinking about changes you'd like to make about your life, probably while either drunk or hungover. Honestly, I think that's bullshit. Spending a day setting goals and then a year living your life is not a recipe for success. It is a recipe for constant failure and for a way to capitalist people to sell you quick fixes to the things that you thought you wanted. We are going to get sold these fixes to fit into our lives if we don't try to create them for ourselves. Society tells us over and over again that we are broken and we are not enough, and then tries to sell us the thing to either fix it real fast or distract us from that problem. We are capable of thinking more clearly and acting with more purpose than that, and I think we can be more mindful about ourselves, our careers, and our lives than that. So now, SMART goals, the thing that everybody has seen before. You have, it sounds like most everybody has an idea of SMART goals. They're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, they're time-bound. The one thing I've had problems with SMART goals is I've had pretty good luck with setting up one or two and maybe even hitting goals. I struggle at setting a new set. I get one, I get my dopamine hit, that was great, I go back to my life, and I find myself several months later not having paid attention to any of these very small, very achievable goals. So, let's try to think about it bigger than that. Now, another way to think about change is in terms of habits. Atomic Habits by James Clear and the lessons you can learn in that is its own whole topic by itself. So I'm not going to try to, well, I am actually going to try to put it all in one slide, but generally I wanted to bring forth 2 points about this book. Small changes can compound into large results over time. And the best way to create behavior change is to integrate it into your identity, meaning that who you tell yourself that you are will eventually be who you are. And that is both wonderful and scary. Now here is my alternative for you. SMART goals and atomic habits are great, but with the tools that I've just given you, I think we might be able to go further. So I'm going to suggest something called the half-year reset. It is by author, illustrator, and YouTuber Campbell Walker, also known as Struthless. He created a workbook that you can use, which has some mindfulness exercises, some goal-setting exercises, and also integrates habits into it. I have some copies available, happy to give them out. There is also, it's also available for free online. Speaking of which, here is the QR code to get it for free online if you'd like right now. I am going to go briefly over the steps of the half-year reset. August is close enough to half of the year. I think we can all agree that, right? Yeah? Okay. Well, if not, feel free to leave. It's fine. So the first half of the half-year reset is an activity to clear your mind. So this is just an unstructured journaling exercise. This is a form of mindfulness. You want to do this exercise? Great. You want to do it while listening to a train or a lo-fi girl or whatever? You know, put some music on that you love? Do it. Like, find the way that makes this work for you. You want to do something else? That's fine too. Now, remember your goals versus reality. Think about what you wanted 6 months ago or the last time you set long-term goals for yourself. Or at the beginning of this year or whatever. Write down what actually happened. We need to be aware of the goals that we set ourselves and the results that happen. Sometimes those are good. Sometimes those are bad. This is not designed to make you feel bad about having goals that you didn't meet. Stuff happens. The goal isn't to make ourselves feel bad, just to be honest and non-judgmental. So next, we need to think about why some goals succeeded and some goals failed. Sometimes the reasons can help us understand the results. In the places where you succeeded, take the win. Feel good about it. It's okay. It's okay to be proud of your success. Now, let's move on a little bit more. So think about the ideal outcomes and why they are ideal for you. Find your ideal scenario of how you'd like the rest of the year to go, or whatever period of time. What things do you want to happen and why do you want for them to happen? Take that ideal scenario, because it probably has multiple things. I'm rich and famous and all those things, and they give me a pile of money because I'm cool. Like whatever. Like again, everybody has different wellness goals, don't judge. Anyway, once you put all of these things that you would like to happen in your life, rank them. If some are more important than others, just be honest with yourself about it. Some goals will be more important, and that is okay. When time is limited, this will help you understand to focus on the most important things for you. Now, now here comes identity. Now, now that you've put these things down, because again, all of you are furiously scribbling along while this is happening. Once you are here, you've given yourself a prioritized list. Ask yourself, who do I need to be to accomplish these goals? What would I need to believe about myself? What would I need to do more? What would I need to do less? That's not always going to be a friendly conversation, but I think it's a useful and honest conversation. Now, once you've written these, you can also then, maybe once you take all of those things, maybe try to put it in a sentence. Make it something that's easy to remember and easy to repeat. Once you've done that, try to create the system to realistically hit those goals over the next 6 months. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. And here's where the atomic habits and others come in. Now, stuff's gonna happen. Like, even if you do the first part all great, like, life is going to happen upon you. Some new AI tool will take all of our jobs and we'll just all be sitting around, I don't know, clanking for change or something, I don't know. Maybe not, let's stay on the hopeful side. Anyways, prepare for difficult times. What systems, rewards, and tactics will you need when the times get rough? The least that we can do is to try to prepare for difficulties so that it doesn't find us completely unprepared for the moment. Then also just say, why do you deserve this? Because you do. I think you guys are great, but my words on a stage aren't going to be the only thing that's going to create change in your life, even though it would be kind of cool. You deserve a life with meaning and happiness, and I want you to find the reasons and words that help get you there. And next, take the momentum and make some action happen. Turn the desire into action, create momentum for yourself. Momentum feels good. Momentum gives you dopamine, and everything will feel great. Once you get positive results from your positive habits, it makes it a little bit easier to keep going. Because if you think about this in terms of a must and have to, instead of a great, I'm moving towards the life that I wanted to live, that sounds more exciting than, oh man, I should have more carrots, or whatever. In conclusion, you and I are full of lots of different thoughts and feelings. Those thoughts and feelings follow us in and out of our work. I hope I've given you some tools to find some calm in the storm, to experience life at the riverbank, but also to make yourself a more balanced, healthy person and employee. I want you to work towards living the life, or loving the life you live, but also work towards living a life that you love. That being said, there's at least a couple minutes for questions. It's important to know what's important to you, and I want to help you where you're at. So I've been in my own head for a while about this, and I'd love to hear your perspectives. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this material.
I'm going to ask a super easy one.
Sure.
You gave so many examples of different techniques. Do you have ones that you personally use and find value in?
I mean, personally, unstructured journaling has never been particularly useful for me. So I fully love and respect anybody who is able to get just all of it out just by writing it down. That hasn't worked for me. A lot of the things that I found are, the plain and inward, so apps that help me to box in the thing that I said that I wanted to do, and then helping to track it for me are useful things. So on the mindfulness side, I've been using Spirit City Lo-Fi sessions to write down the thing I want to do, and then feeling really good to to put a checkbox when I'm done, and finding a place to find a space of flow and productivity. On the front of habits, Android has an app called Habit Kit, where I just write a thing that I'd like to do, a reason that I'd want to do it. I write how many times a week I'd like to do it, and if I've done it that day, I just put a little dot. And then I just keep the list of dots as the way of keeping myself accountable for the things that I said that I wanted to do. Now, habit tracking is different for everybody, but those are things that have worked for me.
Thank you. Just a comment too about the communication of wellness, and also the people around you, your family, your friends, and just being aware of that too. It's one thing to also be focused on our wellness, but we also have to, especially our kids and things like that, because I know my daughter said I have to give her space when she comes home. I'm so excited she's home and I want to find out about her day, but she's like, Mom, I'm all talked out. I've talked all day. So she needs that time after school to just kind of decompress for her wellness.
I 100% agree. I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. Many times I'm like, what are challenges you are facing in your life? Let's talk about our feelings and thoughts. And they're like, no! And sometimes that's the right answer. Leave them alone, allow them, model behavior you'd like them to see, be available and authentic. Be the person that you wanted to have in your life when you were that age. There are important things you can do, but you can't just be well, talk about your feelings, do your stuff. We can't make other people take a wellness journey. It has to kind of be something that they themselves have to do, but we can, through examples, show that we are making those steps. Because if we're telling people, don't worry so much, take better care of yourself, but then we are worrying too much and not taking care of ourselves, there will be the lesson that we say and the lesson that we are teaching. And whenever possible, to have a unified message across that is the difficult thing, but I think the more important thing to do, rather than just saying, I want this from you right now. It would be nice and convenient for sure, but sometimes it doesn't come at the rate that we desire, it just comes. And I guess, parenting is tough, and I agree. So, yeah.
So I guess this isn't as much of a question as it is a kind of an insight I found in terms of what tools are available for processing your thoughts and everything. I know you said journaling doesn't really work super well for you, but in the past when writing hasn't worked well, I've used some apps like Fireflies where I can just audio record myself and it'll transcribe my thoughts or try to summarize what I've been doing, while I've been rambling for 20 minutes or something. Have you tried any of those in the past?
I will say AI tools are conspicuously absent from this particular talk. That doesn't mean that they don't have a purpose yet. We don't really have great understanding on the privacy where all of these things are going yet, and so using it as the one place where you put your heart and your soul feels like something that we might eventually discover might not be the best idea. But note-taking or transcription utility is perfectly useful. The follow-up to unstructured journaling not being a thing that works great for me, I have found sometimes that very structured journaling prompts will work very well. So, it says, for example, this entire half-year reset is just a big structured journaling exercise. Say who you want to be. Say who you need to be that. So there are ways, sometimes structure is gonna help you, sometimes structure is gonna hold you back. It's gonna be what works best for you. And there, the mindfulness journey isn't one that is just one like straight line that everybody has to go down. Everybody kind of has to find their own path.
Yeah.
Can you expand a little bit more on what you envision a week of cheese curds might look like?
So, I mean, that's going to be different for everybody. I have what I call Wisconsin lactose intolerance, where I need to watch the level of lactose that I have, but I can still have some. So a week of cheese curds is not going to be an enjoyable time for me. But, I mean, I would say that qualifies as just like pure unadulterated gluttony. Honestly, the way that it would actually go is it would be a good example in finding out your desires versus your actual results. It is wonderful to think about having, non-stop deep fried cheese curds. The feeling that happens after having a pound of deep fried cheese curds may not have been the desired result that you were going for. And like this, the way of setting goals is we need to actually examine, I did the thing I wanted, is this actually the result I desired? And so being mindful about the thing that we thought we were going to get from something and the thing we actually get from something can be a very useful exercise in mindfulness in and of itself.
The UW has a Center for Mindfulness and Meditation that has an app that's free, and I found it, I liked it better than Calm and one of the others. So I just thought I'd throw it out there because you had something, the river piece that you had, that slide. There's a little module in there just surrounding what you said. So it seems to fit you, and it's really great. I remember when they first started this, a girlfriend of mine works there, so I know a little bit more about it, but she said that they had a goal and grant money to try and get 200,000 people in her community to use it. Because if you have a huge percentage of a city using it, then you've got, in theory, a much more mindful community, right? And now they have, I think, DARPA money and DARPA grants. They're starting to use mindfulness with the military and other great applications out there. So it's just a little lowercase h, lowercase m on a blue background on the App Store for free, and you can track how many things you've done, what your path looks like, and it greets you personally and remembers what you've done, but there's no personal information other than which modules you've listened to.
Cool. Send me that link, I'll put it in the comments. Because again, find the resources that are available, take advantage of them, even if it is just water, like that is near our city, right? Like sometimes it's low tech, sometimes it's high tech. Use the tools that are available to you. There's no shame in that.
I just wanted to say that something that I'm not like a huge kind of self-help person, but a book that really spoke to me was Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown. I feel like that book changed my life. I feel like it gave me interesting perspectives, like to be seen. Like there's a lot of those things, the conversations of cultivating mindfulness and mindful conversations. I felt like it really helped me in all those outlets of my life. So that's something I just recommend is her book, Atlas of the Heart. So.
Super awesome. If I can go on the train of book recommendations, Your Head is a Houseboat is written by Campbell Walker, the person who does the half-year reset. So they have a more approachable way of thinking about all the things that are in your mind and things to be aware of. With a psychology degree, it did slightly differently than someone who was coming in it the first time around. But I thought it to be a very enlightening way of thinking about stuff.
We should be good.
We're good? Yeah.
Almost done, team. Almost done.